and I have a very special guest with me today, political legend, Vermin Supreme. How you doing, Vermin?
Very fine. Thank you. You're very kind. Thank you for your kind words.
We got to hype it up. Nothing normal over here.
I did not know that this was your very first episode, so for that, I'm thanking you again for having me as a guest on this very, very special episode of the Raw Earth. Yes?
Facts. All
Thank
facts.
You.
So let people know exactly, who you are, what you're about, and how long you've been at it, because according to my data, it's been since 1989, so a veteran in the game.
Yes, I am probably known as Americans' elder statesman of wingnuts. And I, of course, probably known best for my crusade for the presidency as an alternative or fringe candidate. I've been utilizing the format of the New Hampshire primary for the past 25 years or so to promote my agenda, and by utilizing some very simple yet elegant and effective techniques, I have managed to stand out of the crowd of the in 2016, it was over 1,500 people who declared to be running for president. And by the wearing a boot on my head, for example, something very simple, but it has allowed me to spread my message to many, many, many more people than I would have ever been able to preach about my various issues had I been a normal person, dressed normally, looking normal. So by sheer bravado, sheer absurdity, sheer force of will, by bringing forth these admittedly ridiculous and stupid concepts to the forefront of American politics. And New Hampshire is, of course, ground zero, because New Hampshire is the first in the nation primary. It's the kickoff of the presidential primary. It's a very small state, and so you are able to cover a lot of ground. And you have the opportunity at that point to meet up to a dozen different candidates from either party that are crisscrossing this very little state, and each has a tour bus, and each one has campaign stops, and each one has a campaign headquarters. And so with very little effort, you can make a pretty big impact. And for my money, it's one of the lesser used and less utilized political events in the American landscape, compared to, say, for example, the conventions. At the conventions, a good convention where you get a lot of disgruntled people, you can get literally thousands and thousands of people out in the streets protesting. Whereas the New Hampshire primary, you don't have that, and you don't have the riot police. So you have it's a whole different environment. It's totally flexible, and with a little bit of effort and persistence, you can get very close to all the candidates. And I've made that part of my campaign strategy, if you will, going up to the legitimate, or the candidates that are anointed by the lamestream fake media.
Love that.
In order to, ask them their opinions on the issues, and they answer, and it's very interesting. I found that by asking these career politicians something very off the wall, what will you do about the weather? One of my early questions, asking them about the ponies or the toothbrushing, and you elicit a response that is going to be different if they want to play along, and oftentimes very telling.
It's all brilliant. Thank you so much for that in-depth, analysis of what you've been doing. In a sense, you've kind of been a meme before a meme, in a sense, and also utilizing in-person stuff. Nowadays, everything's digital. I know you've seen a huge increase as well, but even before online was popular, you've been utilizing it in person,
I was,
directly at the source.
It's a very important part of the strategy. It's just not on the internet. It's a lot of it takes place in real time, real people. It involves a lot of interaction with authority figures, obviously, because they're trying to screen the candidates from the people who might be trouble or what have you. and a lot of it has to do with optics, and it has to do with breaking through the optics and disrupting their optics and turning their optics inside out and upside down, simply by being there. And by no campaign wants to see me rolling down the street. They really don't. But on the other hand, they know I'm going to do it to every last one, so they don't take it personally. And at this point, after doing it so many years, I'm practically a fixture. I'm a novelty item at this point up in the primary, where I'm almost this beloved figure, and it has allowed me even more leeway to fuck around even more. And the beauty of the campaign, of course, is that the lesser fucks that I give, the more people like it, the more people respond to it, because I'm not constrained by the norms of society. I'm not constrained by reality. I'm not constrained by anything that is going to hold me back. And so therefore, I can push it to the limit. Now, mind you, I do have certain internal limits. I have, I don't consider myself a heckler per se. I'm not going to interrupt a speech. But if there's a pregnant pause, maybe I'll interject rarely. But, I tend to wait to, catch them coming or catch them going.
I like that respect. Yeah.
So that's okay.
Where it needs to be. Just enough, but not too much to...
Yeah. I mean, I respect the authority figures when I respectfully lay down the groundwork and where my lines are and what the boundaries will be between us. And in this public format, and because I'm working in this frame, and it's just a very different thing. It allows me to act in a way that I would probably not in a normal encounter with some authority figures in a back alley or something sometime somewhere.
Got you. On that note, it kind of made me think, you've been going there bringing some flavor to a place that desperately needs flavor. It's so stale, so politically correct, so boring. And one thing that really struck me this year during the debates was how little creativity were in the questions. Like, everything seems so framed out. Like, you never hear about the environment. I think they barely talked about it, and millions of people want to hear about it. How have you seen it evolve, or lack of evolve, in 20, 30 years? Because I feel like in that way, they need more people like you to bring some flavor and different energy to a very stale market.
Well, indeed, it's a very tried and true format. Debates are obviously, they're a format, but it depends on who's running the show. And years ago it was the League of Women's Voters, and then they sort of were more open to third party candidates, and now it's the Presidential Commission on Debates, which is the two party conspiracy to keep everybody else out and lay down these groundworks and make it practically impossible to access. So, I mean, it's truly a problem with the democracy in who is making the rules and who is allowing, defining the playing field and what you have to do in order to play their game. And that's part of been my campaign trying to break through for years. And it is it's a very interesting game if you want to play it. Seeing what you can do with how little, I guess.
On that note, I'm sure a lot of people that see this or listen to this on multiple platforms will know what you do, but some people will be new. Could you explain your platform and, as you know?
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
The type of stuff that you
I'll
offer.
give it to you in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yes. Gingivitis has been eroding the gum line of this great nation of ours for long enough and must be stopped. For too long, our country has been suffering a great moral and oral decay in spirit and in incisors. A country's future depends on its ability to bite back. We can no longer be a nation indentured. Our very salivation is at stake. So won't you join me now as we cross over the bridgework into the 23rd century, and may we become a sea of shining, smiling, shining, smiling, shining, smiling, smiling, shining, 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 smiling, 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 shiny, 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 smiling, 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 faces from sea to shining sea. I am Vermin Supreme, a friendly fascist, a tyrant that you can trust. And you should let me run your life, because I do know what is best for you. This election year, vote early, vote often, and remember, a vote for me, Vermin Supreme, is indeed a vote completely thrown away. And of course, it goes on and on and on. Yes.
I love that. That's brilliant.
Thank you.
I love teeth too. I was mentioning before the cast that my mom's worked in dental for a little while in an office. So
oh yes,
blessed
be the dental makers, as they say in the Bible.
She's pretty upset with modern politics too. So I think you might be able to pick up a vote there.
Yes. The universal dental health care has only been brought up by one or two candidates, Bernie being one and me being the other. And he's talking about it, so yes.
Mm. On that note, I know that from watching videos and checking out content that ponies are a big part of your platform as well, and the elephant in the room.
Yes, sir.
Not a physical elephant, but maybe like a spiritual one.
Elephant. It is.
There's no elephant in the room.
Oversized pony with a trunk.
Well, the pony in the room is that Hillary Clinton, in her book, she made a reference to Bernie Sanders saying, it's not all funny games. You pony here, pony here. Yeah, everybody's going to get a free pony, but who's going to pay for the pony? I mean, a lot of people are saying, is she stealing Vermin Supreme's platform? So what do you think? Do you think it's a steal or
it was
love?
an homage, perhaps, or simply not knowing the issues because she lives in such a bubble. Many of the other candidates are certainly quite familiar with the pony platform, and I've certainly schooled them on the pony platform. When that excerpt from her book first came out, I was not convinced that it was real, in fact, because it was a little ridiculous, her schlagging and complaining and smearing Bernie with the whole free pony part of the platform. Yes, she did not seem to give me credit, but once again, it's an idea, and it's an idea whose time has come. Free ponies for all Americans. I do take credit for pushing this very important platform issue, the lack of free ponies in America, to the forefront of American politics. And of course, those in the know do know that it has been that my platform issue that I've been promoting for many, many years now.
Absolutely.
And of course, it is a Jobs Creation Act. The pony poop will certainly help us re-up the terribly wasted soil from agribiz. And yes, it is a federal pony identification system. You must have your pony with you at all times. That being said, it does seem to be gaining traction presently. There was a very good article in the Los Angeles Times opinion pages regarding ponies for Americans. There was also recently another article, I believe, that was put forth by Talk Poverty. They also crunched the figures. I mean, people are finally doing the math. They are finding out that, yes, for the price of many of these programs, and in particular, for the price of the estate tax, which will repeal people who inherit over $5 million worth of things to not pay taxes on it, that missing that income, the government could indeed spend that money on ponies. So for many years, I've been saying this. Ask the government, where is my pony? We have enough money for this, but not a pony. Where is my pony?
Didn't Congress recently make the pony statement, too? It seems like it's going everywhere.
It's getting a little viral, and it's okay. My name is not attached.
So
my name is
it's very
far
selfless.
less important.
It's very selfless of you. It's not about you.
Absolutely.
It's about the pony. It's about the message.
If I could die in obscurity so that each and every American receives their pony, believe me, I will do so.
I love that. That's a real lower the ego, raise the message. That's what it's all about.
Yes, I mean, quite frankly, I've stolen half my planks anyway, so it's only fair.
On that note, I do think it is interesting. One thing that I find a lot of people sleeping on, I guess, is the fact that it seems like our government has the money to do a lot of things, but when it comes to something like a pony or anything that helps the people, all of a sudden it's unrealistic. I always reference the fact that I believe the last two presidents have $5 trillion deficits missing from certain, monitoring when they're like, oh, where did the $5 trillion?
Oh,
So it's
indeed,
like,
the
that's a lot of
Pentagon
ponies.
losing trillions.
Yep.
There's everybody's pony health care and
That's what I'm
pony
saying.
housing, and the accounting is terrible. And the Fed, once we've replaced that with the Federal Pony Reserve, and you'll be able to see your ponies live on the pony screen, that back in your pony fiat digital currency. Yes, it'll be a very different state of affairs. I think that's one of the attractive part of my campaign. I think that's one of the things that resonates with the people, is that I'm presenting something that is just so possible and practical, and yet perceived and mocked as ridiculous by those who cannot envision it. So I am presenting things that people have maybe not considered, and allowing their minds to wander. I mean, I am offering grown-ups and adults the possibility and the opportunity to perhaps pretend, to perhaps stretch their imagination. And I find that, when that becomes true of the politicians, when I ask them to play along. When I asked John McCain one time if he supported the mandatory toothbrushing, and he said yes. In fact, his campaign staff, Lynn, has experience hiding in people's bathrooms to make sure people have brushed their teeth.
It's a good person to have on the team.
Came right back, boom. And yet he starts to talk about surveillance and people hiding in your bathroom to see if you brushed, which is, of course, what the mandatory toothbrushing law talks about.
Yeah.
It talks about the secret dental police. It talks about the dental re-education centers. It talks about the preventative dental maintenance detention facilities. It talks about the dental no-knock warrants, the computer dental chip implants to keep you and your children safe. The government-issued toothpaste containing an addictive yet harmless substance, the DNA gene splicing to create a race of winged monkeys to act as tooth-fairy enforcers. These are things that I have been warning America about for many, many years, and it seems that many of them are coming to pass.
God bless you for that.
It was the Patriot Act. I mean, they essentially stripped out all the dental references and just put it on through there. And it's all been downhill from there. So, yeah, I mean, the race is on. Will it be complete governmental clampdown? Will it be total environmental collapse? Will it be the economic collapse? I mean, all these things are occurring together simultaneously all at once. It seems to be a very overwhelming, overpowering sense for a lot of people. A lot of people are so overwhelmed with this possibility that, these are literally the end times, because that's what the scientists say.
Moral and oral decay.
And people are just, tuning out, and they're turning off, and they're either just not paying attention to the reality and tuning into celebrity culture, or they are, just running away, ignoring it, denying it, and because it's hard enough just to make the 40-hour week to make your rent and feed your kids. So these are very tricky times, and the young people who are not completely nihilistic at this point, or completely cynical, and blessings to all you and your viewers who still want to maintain some sort of positivity and positive outlook and make positive change on society, because these are dire times, because these are times where things are looking very grim if you start looking at things objectively, if you start paying attention to what's being shoved through the government, and let alone all the insane distractions and the polarization and the people getting really upset at each other. And
I appreciate you saying that.
Crazy times.
I'm gonna delve into the mind and the boot. First of all, I really do appreciate the positivity, because that's what I really try to bring to my platform more than anything else. It's not about opinions. It's not even about. I believe in the collective consciousness of everybody. I don't believe in one man changing the world. I believe in millions of good people influencing on local levels in their community, and I find that that's very, very lost in today's society. Donald Trump won. And now I get attacked sometimes for being positive. Like, they're like, oh, you're privileged. And I'm like, man, I've been spiritual for 10 years, and I've been exposing the government, Bush, this and that.
Still privileged,
yeah,
but still.
Well,
As I am.
I mean, I every day I wake up, I feel the privilege of food and water, and I'm forever grateful for
pretty wild place. We are at the top of the food chain, as it were.
Everything that we have, billions of people don't have running water, so these are things I think about, and I'm grateful for every day that I think a lot of people overlook. But my question to you is on the path of mainstream media and celebrity culture. What do you feel like about the mainstream media and celebrity culture? A lot of people get a lot of their ideas, a lot of their emotions from those two things. What do you think about them? Overrated, underrated? I'm gonna light up this joint here too.
I believe it's just another industry. It's just another capitalist endeavor. It's a commodification of something trivial and meaningless, primarily, and. I mean, it's fluff, and for people to get worked up over it, I can understand, but why people get worked up over sports and politics, but why they get worked up over celebrity culture, I just don't quite grok. It's why.
Well, it's because the people pretend to be other people on TV, so they must know that.
Yes, I people seem to make an emotional connection to. Abstractions or fictions or things that aren't real, and then they really become emotionally invested in it. And be it a sports team or a product brand, or a celebrity. And these are tough times because I think people want role models. They want to look up to people who have who they can look up to. And it just seems like there's so few really upstanding individuals who can inspire people to be better people. I mean,
I like that. What do you think about the news? Like from CNN to Fox to Washington Post to everything. Do you feel like they do a good job, or how do you feel about the mainstream news?
Well, they're all obviously shills, and they're obviously all conglomerates, and they're all pushing various things. And I think you have to take them for what they're presenting, the stories that they're talking about, and trying to synthesize the reality of what's going on by trying to consume several different angles. Everybody's got an agenda. But if you can't trust the mainstream leftover legacy newspapers, who can you trust?
Vermin Supreme.
There you go.
An anomaly. You want to hit this, or?
Yeah, sure. Free the weed, everybody, for where it ain't free. Come on now, free the weed. It only makes sense. Makes sense for America.
Another elephant in the room, or a pony in the room, rather, or one of the biggest figures talked about, who's pretty much been dominating news for the last 2 years, is obviously President Donald Trump. And love him or hate him, I always say I think we elected an internet troll for president. I mean, if you look at his Twitter, he is very troll-like. Even I think his supporters will admit he's a very trolly guy. So we can get your thoughts on him. But someone like that winning, I've heard all the negative sides to it, but do you think it increases your chance of really making a run in the presidency if an internet troll such as Donald Trump can really succeed?
I would say yes. All bets are off at this point. There are seemingly no particular prerequisites or qualifications that one really needs to be president anymore. It almost finally gets down to anybody can be president.
It's inspiring,
no,
right?
But naturally, it helps to be filthy rich. But I think you can do it if you're clever enough, maybe, and we'll see about that. My own projections, because obviously America is on this very slow and now maybe not slow decline, and it seems like I've been on this slow ascent, and we're going to cross somewhere along the line.
Absolutely.
I believe that will probably be 2036 is my prediction. That's 20 years from now.
You heard it here first, 2036.
That's my belief, yes.
We got a kendama back here. I know we had a request. They're getting pretty popular online, and especially here.
Cousin of the devil stick.
What do you know about these, and are you any good?
Well, I don't know. Can you smoke out of them? Is that...
They got a hole, so I could assume that there's... I mean, if you could smoke out of an apple, you could smoke out of a kendama. That's just how I feel.
Yes. Well, let's see here. I suspect there's some cultural appropriation involved, and what do we do here?
All right. So the game is. Well, I'm getting entangled.
Okay,
You
if
pop
you're
it up
not
and
watching this visually, we'll describe it.
You pop it up, exactly.
It's this thing and
It's
this
this
other
thing
thing,
that
and
you
you
put
try
in
and
somewhere.
put this thing up on
And
and you throw it up in the air and you catch it, and it's like a ball. It's like one of those paddle ball things that you bounce back and forth, but instead of the paddle, it's this thing that looks like a giant double golf tee
that's a good-
gavel, maybe that you'd bang on the thing with the thing on it, and
If that's not on every kendama store in the description section, the double golf tee gavel, then the whole industry is going to collapse because we're about to take it over.
okay, and here we go. And all right, your turn. No, wait.
Oh,
Okay.
Hold on. That's a foul.
Okay. Well, no, you got to play some defense.
It's on the first page of the rules. You're not allowed to hit my knee with the ball.
Okay.
Unless you throw it, unless you don't.
All right. So we got to get to the kendama court.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, here it's like this, and
All right. We don't want to break anything, I guess.
I mean,
Okay. Here we go. Whoa. 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 Oh, almost. Whoa. Oh, so close. Okay. Oh, hey, hey, hey. Woo. Yeah. Hey. Whee. Woo! Almost. Okay, we're gonna go. Oh yeah. Okay, we're gonna try it again here. Woo! Oh, it was like that close. Hold on. And you say these are better than yo-yos? I'm not sure I get that part. But woo! Oh, so
spinners or kendamas, what are better?
I didn't know. Is this a fidget thing? Is this one of those
spinners.
fidget things, kids? You know, if you had two of these together, did you have the clacker balls where you'd clack the damn balls together, and they were glass and they would like break and.
It's a valiant attempt.
All
I
right.
think he's doing pretty
All
well.
right. There's probably a secret to it. I didn't practice. I've never seen one of these things before. I think it's easier to. Can you do it?
I'm pretty good at it, but
Okay.
I feel like I don't have enough space. I'm gonna knock
All right.
something
Yeah.
over, but
Yeah. Could be.
I'm
Could be
average.
dangerous.
You know,
could be
if a kendama
dangerous.
company's looking
Oh,
up,
okay. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
Oh.
what he's doing.
All right. Let me try it that way then. I was trying
there's
to catch
two
the
ways
thing
that-
on the thing.
That's the. There's like levels to it.
All right.
It's like
Okay.
a game of Pac-Man.
All right.
I think we can get one just to say we did it.
Can't we just film him doing it and edit it in? That'd be a lot easier.
I guess you could answer this while
Yeah.
you're doing
Yes.
the kendama, but we try to lift.
Kendamas, the next big thing. Okay.
Yeah, you guys, we'll need royalties if you use that. No.
Kendamas, yeah.
Just-
Super. They are so super exciting, kids. Everybody's going to want one for Christmas. I'm picking one up for everybody on my Christmas shopping list. Kids, get off the video games. Get on Kendamas, okay? All right.
All right.
Right.
On uplifting note, yeah, we'll light that back up.
Yeah, I think so.
One thing that we try to do is lift people up and keep people inspired, because I think a lot of things, in a lot of ways, you know, you can say the world's getting worse, but in a lot of ways also, it's one of the greatest times to be alive. We live long. We have at least access to things. We have the freedom to be complete weirdos. And
Weed is legal!
and, yeah, absolutely.
In a lot of places.
I remember having to run away just to smoke on a bridge. That's a true story. But
Offer
what do you
void where prohibited.
What do you say to somebody that's maybe watches some of our stuff and in some way wants to achieve their goals, whether it's in politics, whether it's in video content creation or comedy or business? What do you say to someone like that? Because you have been successful being in the public eye and also just, you know, been able to do what you do for a long time. So what do you say to someone? How do you inspire them?
Well, I'd say persistence. Persistence is truly a very, very important thing. I think that's one of the only reasons that I've been able to achieve what I have achieved, which is totally amorphous and open to question. But I got here because I didn't stop doing it. I found something that I enjoyed, something that was easy, something that was impactful, and ran with it. I would say don't be afraid to think outside of the boot, if you will. Don't be afraid to let your freak flag fly. Try and find a niche. something that you can really work at and make an outsized contribution, if you will. My case in particular is I found running for president as this little thing, and just worked it and exploited it. So I think it's finding that little spot that hasn't been used to say what you want to say.
I love that. I tell people a lot if they ask. I don't just parade around usually with it, but that persistence is one of the most underrated things. I think people hold themselves back more times than not. Ego, disappointment, negativity, thinking too much instead of doing it. So persistence is key. Everything takes longer than you think. People want it overnight, year, 2 years.
True, and it's what you're looking for, and because I wasn't particularly fame hungry. I think fame seems to be an end result for a lot of people in this whole generations, if you will, and that's what they want to be. That's part of the celebrity culture, and so they're looking towards this hero of celebrity, and so they want to be that. And not everybody can be that, and of course not, and nor should they be. And you need to reassess. If you end up famous for doing something amazing, or if you do something amazing that makes you somebody who did something amazing and never get famous for it, I think it's a far more worthy or important goal. If you can make a real difference, it's like the pony thing. If everybody American gets their pony, and I'm just some little footnote in history, that's okay with it. I'm okay.
I love that. That's how you know he's a real one at heart, at the soul. I think a lot of people chase fame and money. I think almost everybody chases money. Whenever someone asks me what I'm doing, no matter how much impact I'm having, and that's what I really care about, they always ask me how much money I'm making. And it's annoying, because it's like, even if I'm doing well or not well, that's never been what it's about for me.
True.
So it's
and I think that's another thing. If making your money is the goal, then that it makes it a little different. I always maintain that if I was a business, I would have been bankrupt years ago. If I had a nickel for every selfie I took with a fan, I'd have millions of dollars. But you just can't do that.
That's real. And on a level,
but I am a college speaking guy. Don't get me wrong. College kids out there, you can
Vermin
bring
Supreme
you can
for
book
5
me.
easy payments.
Yes. You can bring me
as much as you got, as much as your fraternity makes.
I've got a number of inspirational presentations that I give. We have a couple movies. I have the Vote Jesus movie when I went undercover as a right-wing fundamentalist, anti-sodomite presidential candidate.
Brilliant.
Fun stuff. We have the documentary from my 2012 campaign and prior. Called Who is Vermin Supreme? An Outsider Odyssey.
Awesome.
That's also available on the internet. You can watch that one. And there's the new unreleased as of yet documentary by Rod Weber called Vermin Supreme 2016, the year that almost rhymed. And that covers the 2016 campaign. Zany hijinks all the way through.
That's a professional, how to be humble, show your spirit, but also let people know what's going on.
Yes, and I've got the academically defensible presentation called The History of Satire in Politics. So it's a good one, PowerPoint presentation, and the less savory extravaganza called I Joined a Suicide Cult, and that was from when I joined. Yeah, we won't get into that. Skip that. Edit that. Cut that right out.
Well,
so it's not with the flow. There's no positivity about that.
Now you know where you can find his stuff, and
I'm on the internet too.
I'm
all over the internet.
Just search it. But on that note too, I do think in my life, a lot of these things, money, fame, and stuff, they came because I didn't want it, and that's kind of my spirituality in a sense. I try to not want too much. I try to be appreciative and grateful, and I do notice that my life changed, and a lot of people that I know that chase money and fame, I never cared about it since I started rapping and doing videos. That was the last thing on my mind. But sometimes you get more than the people who chase it their whole lives. So do you think that's a phenomenon, that you get what you want when you don't want it, or what do you think?
No, I think that's just a very lucky happenstance, perhaps. I mean, a lot of people work really hard, and sometimes they make it, but a lot of people don't. There's so many scenes in any given town of poets or actors or musicians or bands or any creative pursuit that you can think of, there's obviously people who are doing that, and they congregate in these little areas, and everybody's trying to rise up or some such.
Yeah.
I think that's just the way of the world.
I do think
More
hard work,
more power to everybody.
Hard work, consistency, creativity. I know so many talented musicians and this and that,
Yes.
but I am a firm believer of, I do think certain doors open for certain people at certain times. But
I mean,
if you're persistent and you keep your ego down and keep learning new things, it's easy to advance.
People need to realize also that in this day and age, the fame and fortune they don't come hand in hand at all. Almost, I mean, a lot of these famous people, especially internet famous people, there's no fame, there's no riches involved.
Definitely.
It's like welcome to Lives of the Poor and Famous. I'm Vermin Supreme, and sure. I mean, you'd have to, you're lucky to either be famous or rich, and you're super crazy lucky to be both, I guess.
Yeah, that's all real. So, on that note, I guess, where can people find your stuff? You made some plugs before, but let them know a closing statement, maybe message.
Okay,
promo.
Sure. I'm Vermin Supreme. You can vote for me anytime, any place. You can look up my various websites. VerminSupreme.com is coming soon. I'm on the Facebook machine, Vermin Supreme for President. Check out that page. Pony-Based Economy is another exciting page. Check out my exciting book, iPonythebook.com or iPonybook.com, Blueprint for a New America. It's a vision of what the future holds for America once they've obtained a Vermin Supreme presidency. A very informative book about zombie power and dental checkpoints and these things. At Vermin Supreme is on Twitter. And one of these days, maybe I'll get a YouTube channel and VerminSupremeFilm.com. VerminSupremeFilm.com. But, I just tell people Google me up and stuff. A lot of things going on. And, of course, this Sunday, is this going to go up before this Sunday?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
We'll skip it then.
All right. Yeah, they'll get out there. Thank you so much. And as always, this is Rare Talk. We're giving rare perspectives. Try to spread love, spread knowledge, spread wisdom, spread kendamas, I guess, on this episode. Spread dental hygiene.
Yes. And we'll talk about my work in Riot Police World some other time.
Facts.
All right.
Have a good day.